The left's theatrical commemoration of January 6th, the day that does not merit a commemoration at all, was designed to do simply one thing: ram through a voting tricks act, not voting reform. That's what they care to call it. But this is a law that would really cancel the ability of states to control elections and make, on a national permanent level, a ban on such things as voter identification.
Yep, you're exactly right, Betsy. And if you were one of the few to actually tune in to Biden's speech, nothing unexpected happened. He just endlessly placed blame on the Democrats' favorite boogeyman, former President Trump. Today, Trump responded to the hysteria, writing that Biden's handlers gave him that speech to distract from the unprecedented failures of his presidency and the left-wing extremism of the Pelosi-Schumer Congress.
Well, here at Newsmax, we've been dedicated to sharing the truth about what actually happened on January 6th, at least as much truth as we can get at this point. And that's especially important that you know about our new documentary film, Day of Outrage. It will air again this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. And we are joined now by the award-winning filmmaker of this documentary, Jack Thomas Smith. Thank you for coming on this show. Boy, do I have questions for you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I'd like to start with this one. What has happened to the 14,000 hours of video surveillance that the government refuses to release, even in the face of FOIA requests from media outlets like the AP and the Washington Post?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? And we touch upon that. Sebastian Gorka actually raises that very question. Where is that surveillance footage? Greg Kelly raises the question in the documentary. Were FBI agents in that crowd? Were they not there? Were there instigators there that shouldn't have been? Were there BLM and Antifa instigators in that crowd? So there's a lot of questions from that day that we just don't have any answers for right now.
Jack, when you look back, based on what you learned in creating this film, and then also how the media has portrayed January 6th, the media and the Democrats, what stands out to you the most in terms of what really doesn't line up?
Well, first of all, it was not an insurrection. It was a protest that became unruly and at times violent by some. But they weren't going in there to overthrow a government. They weren't walking around with firearms. There were just some people that got out of hand. And let's be very clear. I'm a strong supporter of the police. OK, if you punch a cop, you spray a cop in the face with pepper spray or bear spray or whatever, you should be brought up on charges. But with that being said, we're all entitled to due process. And the January 6 detainees, they're not being given due process. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, Louis Gohmert, they both talk about that extensively in the documentary, that they're being mistreated in the D.C. jail. They don't have running water. They don't have working toilets. And it goes off of what you were saying, that it's all politics. That's what this is. It's just all politics. It's about the upcoming midterms in 2022, and it's the ultimate boogeyman, Donald Trump, keeping him out of the White House in 2024. So they want to drag on this narrative. And we actually hit that in the documentary, that the J6 protesters are being used as pawns.
Yeah, well, Jack Thomas Smith, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, folks, be sure to tune in this weekend.
That's right.
Thank you.